People today we're asking the question: why is it that the Arabs they never they never even acknowledge they have participated in slavery? You know, you ask any Arabs today about slavery, the first thing they're gonna throw out to you is that it's not true that the Arabs never participated in slavery. And as you see in this short video, I'm gonna show you about this lady.
In North Africa, we have not had any ideology that support the African identity. We have not had African representation in the media. We have not had any African mention in history books in school. Study anything about Africa. Like, that's just the truth. Like, in the school system, you know more about what happened in the First World War and the Second World War. We have no knowledge about African languages, ethnicities, culture, history. So I think that this is why we think we're so far from Afro war. We have no knowledge about African languages, ethnicities, culture, history. So I think that this is why we think we're so far from Africa while being in it.
You know, is a kind of Arab, but you know, they're Africans, you know, African Arab Africans, you know, because their location is Africa, you know, but they are from Arabs. Their descendants, you know, the children, their forefathers are Arabs that came to Africa and took over our land. You know, you see what the lady was talking about. You know how in this Morocco, Algeria, all these places, they never teach them about Africa. That's why when you talk about Africa, they never even identify themselves as an African because they're not Africans. These people are not Africans. Even though they live, that somebody lives in our location doesn't mean that is part of us. You know, these people are foreigners. They are the Arabs. So, you know, most of them. And my problem with them is that they don't acknowledge this. They always throw gaslighting at you. Like oh, you know. So I heard somebody talking about you know the most people slaveries are not people that are slaves are not only the Africans. We have Arabs that were slaves. You know, it's not about Africans alone. But this is not true. You know what I mean? Even if I grant it to you that you have people that yeah, people Arab people enslave some of your people, it's not even like I'm gonna exonerate you guys because you are doing it to your own people. And that's why even if you do it to us, we're just gonna take it. We don't care. Even if you do it to your own people, we care that you did it to us. That's the main thing that the Arabs the type of slavery they did in Africa is even worse than the ones that the Western world did because there are a lot of atrocities they committed about the Africans they took they kidnapped because it's not even what's happened with this slavery people don't understand is kidnapping is like it went over Africa and kidnapped some people. Not only that, what the Arabs own is worse is that they didn't only kidnap, they eliminated lots of people and took over their land. And this is the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is not is like you came to people, you eliminated them and take their land. That's the worst. It's worse than just selling them, buying them as a slave. But because you took over their land and you dominated them by force, that's why it's worse. And the Arabs did this, and without any apology. That's why you can be able to see them in Egypt today. You can see them in Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria. This is where this is Arabs. These people are not African. They don't even part of Sudan as well. You know, some of them doesn't even think that they're Africans. The same thing in Somalia. Some parts of Somalis they don't think they're Africans because they have kind of mix with Arabs. You know, this Arab blood. But the thing is that when it's come to slavery, they're gonna enslave them. The main Arab people will say enslave them. You know, they don't care that they are Somali. They have a curly hair. They don't care. they call them Africans. You know. But my problem with these Arabs is that they don't even acknowledge it. That's why they are worse. And when we talk about reparation, they're not even talking about pay. This you can never get reparation from these Arabs that have done these atrocities to us Africans. You can never get anything from them, nothing. And if you allow them, they will continue with it. You know, and we know why they succeeded in this kind of stuff. We know why they succeeded, because if everything is equal, they shouldn't succeed. Sometimes they use sometimes it's not about force they use. Sometimes it's about, like Egypt, for instance. You know, when they came to Egypt, the people, the people that the Egyptians welcomed them, with open arm, not knowing that sometimes that's why it's not good to give somebody, a group of people, you know, permanent stuff like, land in your place. They're going to take over there. And that's what they did in Egypt. They took over. And now they see themselves as Egyptians. But they are not Egyptians, They call themselves real Egyptians, but they're not. Because the history shows that these people are foreigners. And but it's time for them to acknowledge this kind of slavery, because even the West, even though they will pay lip service to it, but there's a kind of acknowledgement, in this atrocity about slavery. But the Arabs, they never even mention it. They always deflect. If you talk about it, they will push it to the West. It's the West that did this and that, or they're trying to blame on that person. They don't take responsibility, which is so bad, Please.